You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hi, I'm Joe Heath.
I'm Toni Heath.
And this is the Watch-A-Thon of Rassilon.
And I'm a noodle.
And we're back for the Richard E. Grant special. Woo!
Toni and Joe, you are ordered to watch every Doctor Who serial and discuss them all.
Today, we're going to be talking about two Doctor Who projects that happened between Classic Who and New Who, both of which starred Richard E. Grant. We're going to be talking about the comic relief special, Doctor Who, The Curse of the Fatal Death.
Starred?
Well, he's in it.
Okay, because I would say it stars Mr. B.
I mean, that's fair. But we're going to be talking about Doctor Who, The Curse of the Fatal Death, which aired March 12th, 1999 in 4 parts, later consolidated to 2 parts. And we're also going to talk about the animated, official-ish 9th Doctor serial Scream of the Shalka, which aired from November 13th, 2003 to December 18th, 2003.
True facts!
I think we're going to start talking about Curse of the Fatal Death, and then we'll take an ad break, and then we'll talk about Scream of the Shalka.
I don't understand why we're doing these both at the same time, or at all, really.
Because it's Doctor Who!
Okay.
And also, I've smushed them together because there are 2 things that were released between the movie and the new show, one of which is not canon, one of which was canon and is no longer canon, both of which
Might be for the best.
Both of which are connected to New Who, because the first one we're doing is Curse of the Fatal Death, which was the first televised Doctor Who written by Stephen Moffat.
Congrats!
Who would go on to be a writer under RTD with, what was the first one? It was Girl in the Fireplace was the first? No, the first one was,
Blink?
no, that was like the 3rd one.
Oh, you're right. Oh, the 2-parter.
Yeah. Are You My Mummy? That one. The Doctor Dances.
The Doctor Dances.
And the Empty Child? Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Yeah. And then he did Girl in the Fireplace and Blink, and then took over. Oh, he also did Was Silence in the Library, and then he took over for Doctor Who, and then ran the 5th season through Capaldi. You all know this. Anyway, this is the first thing he wrote. Well, not the first Doctor Who
The
thing
first thing he ever wrote, ever.
It is the first televised Doctor Who thing he wrote. It is a comedy special that is mostly making fun of classic Doctor Who. It stars Rowan Atkinson, Mr. Bean, as you said.
That's his name. His legal name.
As the Doctor. And, Jonathan Pryce, I believe is his name, as the Master. Do you know who that is?
No.
You've seen him in at least 2 movies. He was in Brazil. He was the main character in Brazil. And he was also in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Was he her dad? I don't remember. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
He had like the wig.
Sure.
And he was funny. I like Jonathan Pryce. He's in a bunch of stuff. Let me do a quick summary of Curse of the Fatal Death. The Doctor tells the Master he's getting married. The Master falls down a hole a lot and gets Dalek upgrades. The Doctor regenerates a bunch, and the Master and the Doctor go off together.
Yeah,
That's it. I don't know who plays the companion, but that's who the Doctor is going to be marrying until he turns into a woman, and then she's less interested, and so she runs off with the Master.
Unrelatable.
Yeah.
You should clarify.
What?
Because the way you said it sounded like maybe the companion ran off with the Master.
No. The Doctor ran off with the Master. I think Moffat's been a Doctor-Master shipper for a while.
Yeah, we see that.
It comes back again with the Doctor and Missy, I feel like.
Yeah. Also, they don't have to be straight for you to ship them. I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah. Moffat, it's okay. They can just be guys. Or women. Or whatever. So let's see. I'm trying to remember the order, because there's in the second part, he just keeps regenerating
a whole bunch.
Who was your favorite out of them?
I don't have a favorite.
How many of them did you even recognize?
None.
None?
Mr. Bean!
Mr. Bean's the only one you recognized?
Yeah.
Okay, well, here's the ones that I can remember. There was this Richard E. Grant, who this special is named after, who was in With Nell and I.
He was there for like 5 minutes, first of all.
And he was
And
the
you're
sexy
like,
one.
He's the star.
Well, okay, here's the thing. He comes back as the 9th Doctor in Scream of the Shalka, and he's also in New Who as the Great Intelligence. So he's got a lot of He's been Doctor Who twice and not allowed.
Doctor Who twice, but not for real.
And then there was Hugh Grant, the other Grant, not related. You know who Hugh Grant is.
Yes.
He's very popular right now for being...
House?
That's Hugh Laurie.
That's a different Hugh.
Hugh Grant, he was in Love Actually, Four Weddings and a Funeral, Notting Hill. Right now, he's very popular because he is Benoit Blanc's boyfriend, husband, whatever.
We don't know, but
Yeah.
I think they're married.
Yeah, Philip in Glass Onion. I can't believe you don't know who Hugh Grant is. He was the bad guy in Paddington 2. Anyway, there was the Shy Doctor, who was played by the guy that was in Harry Potter. He played Slughorn, and he was also the dad in the Borrowers film. You love the Borrowers.
I do love The Borrowers. The Borrowers is a great book. It's an okay film.
It's a great film. Anyway, I like him. And then there's Joanna Lumley, who was the final Doctor. I don't think I missed anybody. I think that's all of them. Joanna Lumley is from Absolutely Fabulous and James and the Giant Peach.
Also, she's
Hot.
number 13.
Yeah, she's 13.
I was kind of, during that part, like, in the back of my mind, like, how analogous are all of these?
Yeah, I don't know. So at 9 was Mr. Bean.
Mr. Bean.
How does that compare to Christopher Eccleston?
A little different. He's definitely playing more of, like, a polished, like, gentlemanly than Eccleston is.
Yeah.
But I feel like...
Richard E. Grant was, I think, the next one, who's the sexy Doctor.
Yeah.
That's 10.
That's very 10.
He
Yeah.
licks a mirror at one point.
That is the point where I was like, is that a reference? When David Tennant does it, is that a reference to this?
Does he lick a mirror?
He licks a lot of things.
That's true. Maybe it is. Then after that was the Shy... I think... Was he the Shy Doctor or Hugh Grant? No, I think it was the Shy Doctor, the one confused around women. So that's...
A little bit.
That's a little Matt Smithy. And then you've got Hugh Grant, who I guess is Peter Capaldi. I don't get... That one's not one-for-one.
And then 13 is just... They're women.
Yeah. She's a little more...
Sexy. You can say it.
Yes. But I was going to say more confident.
Oh, yes? I mean...
I guess it's the same thing, isn't it?
Are those not the same?
I guess so. So, we've talked about who the Doctors are and everything. Is there anything else you want to talk about this special?
Master's got Dalek bumps. That's a pretty good joke, I guess.
He's got some Dalek titties. Also, I really like when he gets the plunger and he doesn't know what to do with it.
You don't even know what that's for, do you?
And he falls down this hole multiple times and then immediately appears
I will say,
older and older.
That is very Moffat writing of like, but I time traveled, you see.
Right? It's also very like Bill and Ted. Just setting things up that we don't see and then just paying them off all here. We don't see any of the setup. We know it happened because of time travel, which I feel like Doctor Who doesn't
do enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and didn't do in like classic Who. But yeah, I thought it was fun. It seems like these are the things Moffat wants to do with Doctor Who, but he's doing them as jokes, and later he'll just do them as Doctor Who.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. Maybe some of it doesn't quite hold up. It's definitely maybe a little sexist.
Yeah.
If you had watched that, would you be like, and you heard this guy's going to run Doctor Who, what would you have thought?
I don't think I'd be like, wow, I can't wait. It's going to be great. I think I'd be like, okay.
There is a fun fact about this, which is that, like, this is probably one of the most, like, talked about non-canon Doctor Who things. It's been on the cover of, like, Doctor Who magazine multiple times.
How, like, sanctioned was it?
I mean, it's made by the BBC.
Okay.
For comic relief, Red
So
Nose
it's not
Day.
like a fan thing. This isn't like Stephen Moffat in his basement.
No. It'd be amazing if you got all of those actors. But no, yeah. It was like a anniversary special thing, I think, and also charity thing. Because it's the same thing. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the same deal with like when they did Time Crash and that little scene with Tennant once he's regenerated. You know, that's not in the show, but it's just that scene.
Yeah.
It's along the same lines as those, or the ones with Matt Smith.
Do you know how people felt about it at the time?
No idea.
Oh, that's something
I assume
you would have looked up.
I think they liked it because, I mean, like I said, it was in Doctor Who magazine a lot, and eventually that guy wrote for the show. So,
right.
Speaking of guys who've written for the show, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back to talk about Scream of the Shalka.
Okay. Attention, people of Earth! Looking for a way to kill half an hour every week?
Try the Flopcast. It's a silly podcast about cartoons, music, comics, movies, obscure pop culture from the 70s and 80s, and chickens.
Join us! Bring coffee!
We're on the ESO network.
And we're at flopcast.net.
And we're back.
Good break.
Good break. So now we're going to be talking about Scream the Shalka, which also stars Richard E. Grant as the Doctor, the ninth Doctor.
Are you going to give a summary, or can I just tell you my opinions?
I'm going to give a quick summary.
Okay.
I wrote it down.
I've got feelings.
I got her feelings. Okay, so here's the Scream of the Shalka summary. The Doctor is sent to deal with something that turns out to be screaming worms. He meets Allison,
My God, how they scream.
I mean, it's in the title. He meets Allison, who helps, and Joe, who doesn't. He also gets involved with the military and receives help from a robotic master confined to the TARDIS.
Okay, there's so much there. I don't know where to start.
I want to say a quick little thing, which is that this is written by Paul Cornell, who had previously written Doctor Who novels, like official Doctor Who novels, one of which was Human Nature. He also wrote Human Nature, the new Doctor Who episode.
Does not surprise me.
And Father's Day.
One thing that I want to say is that this is a good script. There is a good story. There is continually dialogue where I'm like, yeah, that tracks. That's Doctor Who dialogue. Specifically, like, New Who. There is a lot about this that is like, oh.
This feels like a legitimate bridge between classic Who and New Who. Yeah.
It's very interesting to see, like, sort of pre-New Who stuff and be like, so we all kind of knew, like, people had an idea of what that was going to be like.
It felt like New Who with a classic Who structure.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, it is also so poorly edited. Or animated, I mean to say. Yeah. So poorly animated. Clearly, just from the way that it was done, there wasn't enough money or time.
And it was 2003 Flash animation, so...
And there's just close-ups. There's so many times where you're just looking at people's eyes and, like, hearing them describe action, but not enough.
Yeah.
They're like, it sounds like something terrible is happening, but I don't know. I can't see it.
Animation sometimes looks fine if they're looking to the side, but anytime it's full on, like...
They're straight on, like, looking into the camera, their eyes are wonky.
Yeah, it looks bad.
You always talk about how, like, animation makes you sleepy, and I'm like, you're a crazy person. I don't understand what you're saying.
Uh-huh.
I almost fell asleep multiple times when we were watching this, and I enjoyed, like, I thought that it was well written. It was solely due to the animation that I was like, I just want to close my eyes and listen to it. I just gotta close my eyes a little bit.
But yeah, it's well written. The worst thing, worse than the animation,
yes,
is the Shalka. It's one singular sound effect that is pitched higher than everything, and it's just that.
It's insufferable.
Over and over.
I don't actually need to hear it.
Yeah.
That much.
I literally had to take my headphones out. It was so painful.
Multiple times we both took our headphones out. Actual story stuff. I want to know everything. Everything about the Robot Master.
Right.
I need to know everything. Listen, if you have like a fan theory, I just need to consume every piece of available information about this character and dynamic and why it happened. It's fascinating.
I think the Doctor made him because the Doctor was lonely.
I'm not certain that it's not, at least in some way, the actual master. Yeah.
It's weird that, like, we watched this and Curse of the Fatal Death, both of which have weird Doctor-Master
it feels like it
dynamics.
goes, because like the Master and the Doctor go off together, so it almost feels like this is a follow-up. Yeah.
The Master is played by Derek Jacobi, who plays him in Utopia. Is that what it's called?
Yes. And he's not evil. Like, he has that moment with Allison where he's about to say, "You will obey me," and then the Doctor shows up and he's like, "Hey, I was just being normal.
You will have a great time here," or something like that.
Yeah. What is that?
Doesn't he also sort of, like, give him up? At like, the Shalka come in the TARDIS at one point, and he's, like, being sneaky and shit.
Yeah. But then it, like, turns out that he was being double sneaky, and the Doctor's like,
Yeah.
I know. I wasn't worried about it. I have so many questions, and I want to know. It's very good. There's so much there that it's like, what happened? Is it just that did the Doctor build a master robot out of loneliness? Because, oh boy, that says a lot.
Right? It's an interesting...
There's
It's so interesting. Like, it's the most interesting thing in this whole serial.
There's so much there that's not being said,
Mhm.
and I want to see all of it. Send me your fan fiction.
There's also, like, a couple of other... There's also, like, another mystery that doesn't get resolved or anything of... Like, the Doctor's clearly working for someone.
I mean, I assume the Time Lords.
That's what I assume, too. But it's never clarified, is it?
I have no choice now but to believe that this is like a Morbius, a timeless child, that this is when this happens.
Oh, yeah. That could work. I'd be for it.
Yeah.
Because I like it. I wouldn't have minded if this had continued.
I do wonder, because I know you said that like people weren't impressed with this performance.
RTD said it was a lazy performance.
Ouch, RTD!
Yeah.
I wonder if part of that isn't seeing the Doctor as being somebody who doesn't want to go on an adventure. Seeing the Doctor as being like, okay, fine, I'm coming. But that is also very in character, assuming that he's being sent places by the Time Lords and being asked to do their bidding. Because that's not an adventure, that's a job. It's very different.
I thought he was great. I had no problem with his performance. I thought he was fun.
Again, how much of that is the animation that just makes you want to fall asleep?
Right. Because, like, there's at least a handful of moments where I'm like, that's really good. Like, there's the bit where they call the TARDIS and get the answering machine, and it's just clearly the Doctor in the middle of some, like, weird party, and he's just giggling the whole time. Like, you've reached the Doctor and everything, but he's like, stop, I'm recording a thing. And that's really good. And the scene where he's karaoke singing, basically, he rides in the mouth of this giant beast. He just does a lot of cool, fun things.
Yeah.
And I thought his performance was good. He seemed like the Doctor to me.
Yeah, again, there's a part of me that wonders how much of that is seeing a Doctor who's like huffy about going on an adventure and not like all about it. Which, like I said, totally makes sense. He's done that before when the Time Lords have sent him someplace.
3. It seems 3-ish. Especially like when you have that military that's not quite... I don't think that was UNIT, was it?
I don't think so.
I mean, it's filling the role of UNIT, but yeah.
I do like, there's a moment where he talks about, like, he has some line where he's like, I never kill people. And of course, Joe and I are like, yeah, okay. And then later, I think Allison talks about being confused by him. And he's like, I'm confused by me too. For example, I say I never kill people, but that's a lie. And I was like, oh shit, okay.
And then he's also like, and I also say I hate the military, but I seem to work with them an awful lot.
Like, there's like there's a third thing where he just points out like these different contradictions.
It's like, that's cool.
Actually, like, having the character acknowledge that is nice, yeah.
It's like, it's really well written. I think it would have been a lot better to see this with people.
Right.
Instead of this really shitty animation.
It's also interesting to me, too, the parallel between Allison and Rose of, like, having this boyfriend who's like, I mean, I was like in the middle of breaking up with him. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And like having that character being very useless of like, don't. There even is like a scene where he's like, don't, it's dangerous. And she's like, what should I do? Nothing? And he's kind of like,
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I guess you're right. Like,
it sucks that his name's Joe.
Joe fucking sucks.
Joe fucking sucks. There's some gross stuff in this, too.
Gross
the, like, thing in her head.
Oh, no. The lava zit?
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Lava zit.
That's what it is. It's a big lava zit.
Yeah. On the forehead. Ugh, gross.
It pops. Disgusting.
Yeah. So it's gross, and it's hard to listen to.
Yeah.
And hard to look at.
But other than that, it's great.
Great. There is a novelization of it. I bet it works like gangbusters there.
I would love to read that, actually.
It's also written by Paul Cornell, so.
Because I definitely feel like there was like a really good story that I did not get to see in its best light.
I believe there's a novelization or novelized sequel or follow-up story as well with that doctor.
Also, do you think there's any additional context
About the master?
about the master
There might
robot?
be.
I need to know everything.
Google it. I'm not sure. And I know there was
I will Google it.
another planned sequel that they just made a Big Finish story for a different doctor, I think. So,
There's absolutely no reason why this doctor can't be canon.
yeah, put him in the timeless.
We've got a whole chunk of timeless child nonsense that can just be filled up with bullshit.
And also, like, the Timeless Children era, he was working for,
He was working for the Time Lords.
Yeah.
The Time Lord, like, military shit. This makes total sense.
Okay, but when fucking 13 had that big flashback, all of the previous lives, and it showed the Morbius doctors, why wasn't Richard E. Grant in there?
He just didn't show it. It was in there.
Didn't want to confuse the audience. Be like, why is the doctor the great intelligence?
Yeah. No, he was there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
I agree. I like him. I've heard so much about how he wasn't a good doctor and did a terrible performance, like he was phoning it in. I disagree. I thought he was fun. I thought he did a great job.
I really, truly don't think the context of the story did itself any favors, and that's a bummer.
Of course, I've also been like a huge fan of Richard E. Grant since he was in Hudson Hawk.
I don't give a damn, and I thought it was fine.
Also, he was really good as classic Loki. But anyway, anything else you want to say about this thing? Or are we good to go?
No, I saw my thoughts. Really, though, truly, send me your Dr. Robot Master fanfiction, thanks.
It's like if you took Turlo and Chameleon and put them in the same character.
It's just fascinating. There's so much to unpack there psychologically. I want to know everything.
Me too. So, if you liked this episode of the podcast, check out more on Watch-A-Rassilon.com. You can also find our podcast, our Patreon, and more at Linktree/Watch-A-Thon. And I want to give a special shout out to Vince and EL for providing us with our amazing theme song.
Thank you, Vince.
Check out more of their music at vincentel.bandcamp.com. And tune in next time when we talk about the first episode of Blake 7, The Way Back.
Finally.
Yeah, for the Watch-A-Thon of Avon. That's a character on the show, I guess.
Oh, we've really got to talk about our naming conventions.
I hope you've enjoyed us returning to Doctor Who for a little bit, but we're going back to weird shit. Then after that, we'll be doing a Talk With Me, where we will answer your questions. And then we're going to do the Watch-A-Thon of Raph and Don, which is going to be about Insane in the Membrane.
Insane in the Membrane, one of the best episodes of the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that was so good it got banned.
That's how good it is.
That's how good it is.
We'll do Watch-A-Thon 13, which is what we're going to be doing the first episode of Warehouse 13. And then we'll be back with Rose, the first episode of New Who.
Oh shit, I've seen that.
But until next time, keep calm and wrestle on.
Goodbye, and I love you in a platonic, parasocial way.
Richard E. Grant!
I'm Mr. Noodle.
My body has been augmented by superior Dalek technology.
I'll explain later. Cute, sexy, and lick the mirror handsome. Oh dear. Seem to be a bit shy of girls now. Look after the universe for me. I've put a lot of work into it.
He was never cruel and never cowardly.
You're a great deal more attractive than I remember.
You're not human. Decent of you to say. What are you? Mildly annoyed.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.